Cybersecurity is one of the hottest jobs right now, but the problem is everyone wants experience. But no one tells you how to really get experience without having a job first. And the common advice? Just do projects, bro. But here's the issue. Beginners end up doing random things without any relevance to the industry, and they call them projects. Saying that you build up a SIEM in your resume is good, but if you don't know what to do with the SIEM once you built it, then you haven't actually learned anything that's relevant to the industry. You've just been looking at a box with green lights on. This is not projects, and most importantly, this is not experience. That's why in this video, I'm gonna show you cybersecurity projects that will actually make you stand out. The projects aren't random. They fall under the 5 major cybersecurity areas that are the most in demand in the market right now. But more importantly, I will show you how to add them to your resume. So make sure you pay attention to this video because it's very important for your journey as you're trying to land your first cybersecurity job and progress in your cybersecurity career. The video is broken down into 5 parts that represent the 5 major cybersecurity areas that are in demand in the market. Starting with the one that most of you are familiar with, which is part 1, SOC analyst projects. I want you to acquire and practice your blue teaming and security operations center analyst skills for 2 very important reasons. 1, because SOC analyst jobs are just so high in demand. There is simply more SOC analyst jobs than any other cybersecurity specialization. But 2 is to make you more of a cybersecurity generalist, where you will be performing more than one tasks. And one of the tasks that you will most definitely be performing is analyzing and responding to cybersecurity attacks. This is very common in small to medium-sized organizations. And for that, we have 3 major platforms that I want you to practice with in no particular order: LetsDefend, TryHackMe, and CyberDefenders. Both LetsDefend and TryHackMe have a live SOC environment. This is basically a real-world live security operations center where you can look at incidents, investigate them, assign them to yourself, and respond to them exactly like we do in the real world. Now, as you learn and practice, not every cybersecurity incident turns out to be a cyber attack. Therefore, it's your duty as a cybersecurity analyst to perform that triage and analysis to perform whether it's a real cyber attack or it's a false positive or a user error. Now, let me show you what the LetsDefend Security Operations Center looks like. As you can see, it looks exactly like a real world Security Operations Center. Now trust me, this is the kind of stuff that you will be asked about in interviews. So having that hands-on practice will help you immensely in passing interviews. Now CyberDefenders has a slightly different approach. They have what they refer to as Blue Team Labs. Now this is different than their popular certification, Certified Cyber Defender, CCD, which by the way is a fantastic certification. If you want me to do a deep dive in CyberDefender CCD or into the new TryHackMe cert, let me know in the comment below and I'll make time for it. Now looking at CyberDefenders lab, they are basically 3 levels, ranging from beginner all the way to some really challenging and advanced labs. Now looking at their labs, it's pretty comprehensive as you can see, and it goes really deep into incident response and digital forensics. So if digital forensic and incident response, which is short for DFIR, is something you're interested in, then CyberDefenders is definitely a great platform for that. I'll leave a link to all these labs in the description box below. But the question is, do you really need to do all of those labs? And my honest answer is, you should continue to learn up until you land your first cybersecurity job, because this is the real stuff that you perform in your cybersecurity job. So if you don't have experience, the way we add this to the resume, which we will get to shortly, is precisely to compensate for lack of experience. Now, once you land your first cybersecurity job, it's your choice. You can choose to continue to learn and progress in your career, or you can do what the majority of people do, which is nothing. Most people in cybersecurity, they don't learn and they don't progress in their career. One is not better than the other. It's your choice, it's your life. I personally chose to continue to learn and progress, whilst my colleagues were pretty happy with the job they got and they are just cruising. There are pros and cons to each approach. One is not better than the other. You're an adult and you need to make your own choices. Now in this video, I'm giving you a lot of options. Pick the one that resonate more with you and work your way through the others. You don't really need to do them in order. And if you find that some of these labs are difficult, the assumption here is that you followed some of my roadmaps where I recommend hands-on practical certifications such as HackThebox CDSA or CyberDefenders CyberDefenders CCD, or Blue Team Level 1 and Level 2, and TryHackMe. So if you find that the labs are a bit too hard, perhaps go and do a proper hands-on certifications, then come back to these labs. However, most of you will be able to just follow through and do these labs even without doing these certifications. It's not what I recommend, but it's possible. Now I'm gonna show you how to add it to your resume, but first go to unixguy.com/free to download this free cybersecurity resume template that I will be using throughout this video to add each lab to the resume. So as I will show you here, we will have a section called Practical Projects, and under this section, the first project I will add is the practice with LetsDefend. So we will say live SOC monitoring, LetsDefend monitored real-time security alerts, performed triage and investigated incident in a simulated SOC environment. It's nice and brief. You can choose to add more detail depending on how big your resume is. We try to keep it to 1, maximum 1.5 pages, especially if you're an absolute beginner. And if you practice with TryHackMe and CyberDefenders, this is how I would add them to the resume. So as you can see, 1 paragraph for TryHackMe and 1 paragraph for CyberDefenders. Now, especially with something like CyberDefenders, where there are so many labs and different tools that you practice with, you can make the experience specific to that particular tool you practiced with. There is no right or wrong answer on how to frame it in your resume, but I choose to make it a little bit broad, but you still have the choice to be more specific into a certain tool that you've used or a certain lab that you've practiced with. But now that you've managed to practice your blue teaming skills in a security operations center environment, the next step is to go a little bit deeper in one of the most important areas in your journey as a cybersecurity analyst, which is part 2 of this video, network traffic analysis and Active Directory. And for this, we will use one of my favorite platforms, HackThebox. As I mentioned earlier, they have a certification called CDSA, which I reviewed in the past in this video. You can check it out in your own time, but these labs that I'm gonna show you are from HackThebox Academy. It's a little bit confusing. Their platform have HackThebox, which is certifications, and then they have their academy, which is capture the flag style labs and learning environment. So here we're using HackThebox Academy. Now the true strength of HackThebox platform is that they approach things from the hacker's point of view. So they really take an offensive security to learning, which makes the labs a little bit more challenging than what some of you are used to. This is the common complaint that I hear about HackThebox. Yes, it's hard, but that's how we learn. This is a feature, it's not a bug. Don't run away from hard things, especially when those things are actual skills that we use on the job. So from HackThebox Academy, we will be doing 3 labs. The first one is called Introduction to Network Traffic Analysis. Now, analyzing network traffic to determine what good traffic looks like versus what malicious traffic looks like is precisely what we do as cybersecurity analysts when we protect organizations. Now, some of you will be familiar with the material here, but I still think it's an excellent review for you because this is one of the fundamental skills that you need. But for some of you, this might be new information, especially if you've learned from, say, multiple choice type exams. This will give you a chance to have a deeper look at what network traffic actually looks like. So don't sleep on this. And the next lab is an introduction to Active Directory. If you have plans to work in cybersecurity, then you will most definitely run into Active Directory. It's something used in the industry worldwide, so you definitely need to understand Active Directory. Now, I'm not saying that you need to become an Active Directory administrator. However, the bare minimum knowledge that you need to be a good cybersecurity professional is to cover the information in this introductory module. And the final one is Windows event logs and finding evil. This is where we will look into Windows servers logs to determine what malicious traffic looks like. This lab is a little bit more challenging than the previous 2, but as I said, challenging and hard is good. This is how you learn. So buckle up because this is all extremely important information. And as I said earlier, there will be links to everything in the description box below. But now that we've covered everything when it comes to security operation centers and responding and analyzing cyber attacks, the next crucial step is something that's highly in demand in the market, which you will most certainly run into, which is part 3 of this video, vulnerability management. But before we continue, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, who has given us a generous 20% discount, NotePass Business. Did you know that the average number of passwords used for business-related accounts is 87, which is insane. But you can manage all of that with NotePass Business, which is an intuitive password manager for business and individuals, which is ideal for productivity. Not only that, but a huge security risk that businesses face is offboarding users once they've left the business. This is a big challenge for identity and access management. In fact, research have shown that 1 in 4 people can still log into their accounts from previous jobs they've left, granting them access to information that they shouldn't have access to. Again, huge security risk. But with NotePass Business, you can manage user access efficiently, which allows you to streamline onboarding and offboarding users and managing user account credentials. You can also track your organization, corporate data under a single pane of glass. This is a huge thing for managing identity and access, which is a big headache for businesses. And research has also shown that on average, it takes 121 days for a business to identify data breaches, which is insane. But with the data breach notification feature with NotePass Business, you can change any password that was compromised before any damage is done. Try it out today. Use UnixGuy coupon code at notpass.com/UnixGuy to get NotePass Business with 20% off. The coupon applies to all new business plans. And back to the video. If you followed my 6-month cybersecurity roadmap, you would have done the free Qualys vulnerability management training. Now, Qualys is one of 2 major vulnerability management platforms that we use in the industry. The second one is Tenable. Both platforms work in exactly the same way. So if you learn Qualys, it will be really easy to use Tenable. In this project, we will be practicing with Tenable vulnerability management platform. My friend Josh, who is an experienced cybersecurity professional, built this excellent cyber range where it will give you hands-on practice with Tenable, which was really hard to get because you actually need to pay a commercial license to be even able to touch Tenable. So looking at the cyber range, it first starts off with videos that will explain to you how to use Tenable. The videos consist of lectures that cover a broad range of topics, and then within the cyber range, you'll be able to create a user on Microsoft Azure cloud environment, and in this Azure environment, you'll get to see live Windows servers that get attacked. So as part of your learning journey, you'll be able to scan those servers using Tenable and produce a vulnerability management report, and you get to respond and remediate those vulnerabilities in exactly the same way that we do it in a professional environment, which makes this an extremely valuable resource. Trust me, I didn't have access to all of these resources when I was starting out. It would have made my life so much easier. So take advantage of everything that's available to you. In the cyber range, you'll also get to practice with threat hunting scenarios, perform security operation tasks, and perform live incident response on real cybersecurity attacks. This is how we will add it to our resume. Notice that we use Login Pacific Cyber Range because that's the name of Josh's company. But what I didn't mention is even within that cyber range, there is an option to do an internship in Josh's company. So go check out that cyber range and take advantage of this excellent opportunity. But the biggest mistake that people make when they're trying to break into cybersecurity is that they assume that cybersecurity is just offensive security, hacking, and security operations center. What most people don't know is that a huge part of cybersecurity is not even technical, which is what we collectively refer to as governance, risk, and compliance, which is part 4 of this video, GRC. This is the part of cybersecurity where you won't be configuring tools and you will not be responding to cybersecurity attacks and you won't even be performing ethical hacking. So what is it that you would do? Good question. Quite a lot. You will essentially be performing risk assessments, going over documentation, produce a lot of reports, reviewing a lot of documents, and if you're senior enough, you may be presenting technical findings to non-technical audience, which is typically senior management, and in some cases it could be the CIO, the CEO, or even the board of directors. Now, this is especially important for those of you who actually want to progress into your career and become a manager or head of cybersecurity or even chief information security officers. Those extremely senior roles are not really technical. They are GRC roles with a bit of people management, hiring, strategy, and a lot of communication and a lot of influencing senior leaders. Now, because GRC is nuanced and it requires you to have exposure to so many areas and it requires true seniority, I created GRC Mastery for you to summarize what the market is actually looking for. Now, this is not a class where I will look at a PDF and I read a PDF for you, and it's definitely not a low quality rehash of some CompTIA material. This is based on true experience in the field, advising massive organizations on their cybersecurity problems. Now, what I want to show you here is how to list projects from GRC Mastery into your resume. If you've done GRC Mastery, we have a practical assessment at the end of each module, but also at the end of the training course, we have an end-to-end capstone project where you perform an assessment on an entire organization. Now, you could list every practical assessment as its own project, but that's not what I recommend. Instead, I want you to be strategic and pick and choose projects that match your target organization. For example, if the organization requires you to have skills in third-party risk management, in GRC Mastery, we have an entire module covering this topic, and the practical assessment actually gets you to perform third-party risk assessment on a supplier and present those findings. Therefore, this is how you can add that as a line item into your resume. So you can say, conducted third-party risk assessment on a supplier as part of cybersecurity GRC Mastery training course. The assessment consisted of reviewing a third-party security assessment questionnaire, assessing and summarizing the key risk identified. Another example could be adding a project for asset management, which is again covered by an entire module in GRC Mastery. This is how I want you to add it to your resume. We basically say asset management, design the process to capture assets and maintain a CMDB as part of cybersecurity GRC Mastery training course. As you can see, we list the skill, we said that we perform the skill, and then you say as part of cybersecurity GRC Mastery training course. This is how you can add as many projects as you can, because GRC Mastery is fully practical. So it's essentially like a group of mini projects thrown at you with a lot of information. But finally, what you really need to have in your resume as part of GRC Mastery is the capstone project, because it's extremely comprehensive and it's actually a senior task that usually requires a lot of knowledge. So it's important to showcase that you've done it in your resume. This is how I would add it. I say conducted an end-to-end cybersecurity maturity assessment using the NIST CSF framework as part of cybersecurity GRC Mastery training course. Now, apart from GRC Mastery, do you need more projects within GRC? Now, contrary to the advice that I see on the internet, the answer is no, you don't. Because GRC is not like the technical disciplines where you need to create a portfolio. It doesn't actually work that way. GRC knowledge is essentially how to perform risk assessment, conduct maturity assessments, review compliance documents. Once you learn that methodology, that process, there isn't much to learn in terms of GRC itself. Instead, you need to be working on your technical skills. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're conducting a risk assessment on a software application that lives in Amazon AWS cloud. The GRC knowledge part of this is how to follow a questionnaire, how to assess the risk, and how to present the findings. This is the easy part. The difficult part is actually understanding the underlying technology of Amazon AWS and the application. This will be your limitation. Yes, GRC is non-technical in the sense you are not the person who will create the application or configure the cloud, but you need to know how things work. In GRC Mastery, I give you so much information on what to look for when you conduct these assessments. However, you still need to continue and grow your technical skills. Do not waste your time on nonsense, endless GRC practice, because that's not going to teach you anything. Instead, do GRC Mastery, then move on to technical disciplines. And speaking of technical disciplines, the next one that we will cover is one you will most definitely see in the real world, which is part 5 of this video, cloud security. There is 100% chance that you will work for an organization that uses the cloud in one way, shape, or form. Therefore, understanding the cloud is a non-negotiable. I have this video right here where I teach you how to become a cloud security engineer. You can do some of the trainings in this video, or you can do all of them. You can pick and choose. But in this video, I'm gonna show you how to add cloud security projects to your resume. In the description box of this video, I've linked a number of cloud security projects that I want you to go over. I'm not gonna showcase every single project here, just to make this video brief, but I will show you how to add them to your resume. So for example, let's look at this project titled Utilizing IAM to Manage Permissions for S3. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management, and S3 is the S3 storage buckets in Amazon AWS. So under the project section, I want you to write Utilized IAM to manage permissions for S3 bucket on Amazon AWS. The project consisted of creating a user, creating an IAM policy to allow the user access to S3 and accessing the S3 bucket and objects as the same user with the attached policy. So if we read the project, what I did is I took the title of the project and the description and I added it into one line item. So I used the title of the project, then I said the project consisted of, and then I added the project description. You can simply do that for all the cloud projects listed in the description box of this video. But now that you've managed to do cybersecurity training and cybersecurity projects and you have a killer resume, but you're wondering, how do I even start applying to cybersecurity jobs, especially ones that are asking for years of experience? Then I've got you covered. This video right here will show you in a step-by-step manner how to search for and apply to entry-level cybersecurity job, and it even includes information about cover letters and a free cover letter template. Check it out and I'll see you there.